and you were part of a pretty particular match as well. WrestleMania 23, Shawn Michaels, John Cena. Everyone thought that HBK, was taking the title back home that day. It didn't happen. And you took a Sweet Chin Music exactly that day in that
Right.
event.
Yep.
Was that moment planned? Was that created in the run?
I
And
think
how do you felt taking a Sweet Chin Music from HBK himself?
I don't mean to leave your set there for a sec, but you're probably talking about that match right there.
Of course I did. Of course I did.
With that one right there. So um yeah, I mean that was a phenomenal match, but to me it was like on that, it's John Cena and Shawn Michaels, don't get me wrong, he's phenomenal. But that time John Cena was on top for quite a few years and busting his ass for the company and stuff like that. So I mean, was I surprised that they didn't give it back to Shawn? Shawn's not going to run around for another year or 6 months with the title. I don't think he wanted to travel that much anymore at that time, even. So where it had to stay on John Cena because he was the number one selling merch. They pushed his merch tremendously. Company was making money. So, you got to go from what the guy's making you, who's making you money for merch and stuff like that on down the line. Or who would make, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of a decision that comes from the top, from Caesar, Vince, And I wasn't surprised in the outcome of the finish, but it was a hell of a match. Shawn lays the sweetest chin music of ever, because I'll tell you, I didn't even feel it that night. That's how perfect he hits that thing. But and Shawn Michaels is one of the best icons, will be an icon. And he's one of the best wrestlers I've ever worked with, starting when he came in from, I think, a Southern company from down south, and he came in with us with Marty Jannetty as the Rockers. I remember when they came in. And Shawn I've had tremendously amount of matches with Shawn, live events and TVs, which has just been phenomenal, and John Cena as well. And then it was going to where I said something before, where it was kind of sad to see where John Cena and The Rock at WrestleMania. Rock comes back off of Hollywood. John is running the company and on top for 10 years and busting his butt, and then has to do the job for the very first match with The Rock in Miami at WrestleMania. So, yeah, I wasn't surprised with that finish, though, between John Cena retaining the title.
That's actually my next question. WrestleMania 28, you were part of that incredible match, the once in a lifetime match, the first one between Rock and John Cena. The Rock went to Hollywood, then returned after multiple years outside of the wrestling business, and in front of 78,000 people, you got to referee the main event match, and The Rock picked you to do it. He wanted Mike Chioda. Why he wanted Mike Chioda, and how do you feel at that moment, knowing that the biggest Hollywood actor and your friend, I mean, he's been in this business with you for multiple years, picked you to be the referee?
Yeah, I mean, he picked me. He basically had a say in 2002's match in 2002 with Hogan at the Sky Dome. Mm-hmm. So, if the office presents it or the talent presents it to them, that's, if the talent's happy and they want this certain guy to be a referee, he knows he'll be there for the spots. He'll know he'll get the cues. He'll know I'll do my job. It's a phenomenal feeling when somebody says, hey, I want you as my referee. And Shane McMahon used to do the same thing too. And it's a great feeling. Like, it's like, wow. It's like, when somebody wants you, and that's that tier of a talent, it makes you really, feel good inside that you're doing your job, and you're good at what you do.
WrestleMania 23, The Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, John Cena, campeonato mundial peso completo de WWE en juego. Árbitro del encuentro, Mike Chioda. ¿Recuerda esa lucha? Dice que fue fenomenal. Shawn Michaels le dio un Sweet Chin Music a Mike Chioda ese día. Dice que Cena estuvo al tope de la empresa durante muchos años. ¿Por qué? Porque se partió el lomo, porque trabaja más duro que nadie. Dijo que Shawn no quería viajar, no quería estar en la calle 6 meses corridos. Y ahí tienes el motivo por el cual John Cena ganó el campeonato en WrestleMania 23. Shawn Michaels ya estaba de salida, él no estaba dispuesto a estar metido en aviones, 6 meses consecutivos sin estar en la casa, su prioridad era su familia. Y John Cena estaba generando muy buen dinero en mercancía. Dijo que no sintió esa switching music para nada. Dice que la empresa tomó la decisión de dejar a Cena como campeón por todo lo que Cena había hecho y todo lo que Cena representaba para la empresa. Dijo que fue muy triste, dándole un poquito adelante el tiempo, 5 años, WrestleMania 28, once in a lifetime. Miami, Florida. The Rock, John Cena, cara a cara. Árbitro del encuentro, Mike Chioda. Y él dice que fue bien triste ver a Cena perder ante The Rock. Pues, porque tuvo que hacerle el trabajo de Rock aquel día. The Rock seleccionó a Mike Chioda como árbitro especial, al igual que lo seleccionó para WrestleMania 18. Y también lo hizo en varias ocasiones. Él lo pidió porque sabía que Mike iba a hacer su trabajo a la perfección. Shane McMahon también lo ha solicitado en varias ocasiones, específicamente para esa lucha. Y él dice que se siente bien que sean los mismos talentos grandes que te seleccionen para ser el árbitro de ese encuentro. WrestleMania 31st, the highs of the century, screamed Michael Cole during the whole moment. Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, and suddenly Seth Rollins came down running through that incredibly long ramp that felt like an
Yeah,
eternity.
100 yards, probably 80 yards that ramp.
And Seth came in, cashing his money in the bank perfectly, pinned Roman, the thank you after the match in front of 76,000 people, and you got the opportunity to count the 1, 2, 3 of Seth Rollins' first World Championship reign.
Really?
Was that the original plan for that night?
Well, I remember there was like either two plans. It was that, and I think that was the original plan for that night, because or if we got called out of the blue on it, but I'm pretty sure we worked that out that night, to be honest with you, and that was pretty planned. Seth Rollins was phenomenal talent coming up. He is unbelievable. That guy has got more moves than anybody, you know. So I mean, Seth well deserved it, and he's great talent. They were giving him a big push, and I definitely had enough time to tell him that he was coming, because he was coming from about another football's field away, like 80 yards. Because as they were selling and they were doing this, you know, I remember him coming down. It was just, and it's really that kind of a WrestleMania. It's not a unique first real loud pop, because the stage is so big and everything, and it's open doors usually at WrestleMania. The pop kind of dwindles from the beginning, and it kind of gets louder as he was coming in, because it was just, you know, you got to remember, a lot of people across from the arenas and up above didn't see him unless they were watching that screen on him, or if they shot him. But I don't think they shot him on the screen right away. It was kind of like when he first started coming out, because it was, of course, a surprise, Money in the Bank. So they were shooting the talent in the ring. But then, you know, with the crowd, the pop started building and building and building and building. And it just, boom, got that pop. They were so glad that the title got stripped from Roman at that point, I think, because Roman wasn't getting the respect he deserved. And Roman deserved a lot more respect at that time, I thought, even. But yeah, they wanted to see Seth Rollins with that title, and they did.
Yeah, everyone wanted Seth at that point. Mike, cash it in. Yeah. Cash it in. Carmella's moment.
Oh, man. Carmella's moment.
How was that experience for you?
That one is, I popped the most on that one. She's screaming. I'm going, are you sure? You sure you want to cash this in? She's screaming, top of her lungs, you know? So, you know, and they told me, keep asking her. So that was some good writing there, you know, it's some good writing there, a little storyline. But yeah, for some reason, out of all the other moments in the Money in the Bank matches, that really, I popped the most thinking about that one. For Carmella. She's a great gal.
Who spoke to you through your hearing device for 35 different years? We know that's part of the role, that's part of the gig. You have always someone speaking to you in the middle of that match. Does that mess with your concentration, and which was the person, or who were the people speaking to you through that device?
Yeah, and it really, you know, at certain points it does. For years, it was like, you know, beginning it was Gorilla Monsoon. I worked the Gorilla position. Then after that, it was Bruce Pritchard. And then Bruce Pritchard took over. And then it was Jerry Briscoe for a lot of years. Or it was Jerry Briscoe and then Bruce, maybe one right there. And they were phenomenal. And it takes a lot to be at that gorilla position because you're sitting there for hours and you're getting the shit from Vince, you're getting the shit from Kevin Dunn and the producers. And after Jerry Briscoe, for years, it's been Billy Kidman now.
Oh.
So Billy Kidman. And he's one of the best at what he does at Gorilla. And now they coordinate where the producers in the last so many years can talk to you along with Kidman. But sometimes some of these producers would go out of and just constantly trying to run spots. Like, yeah, I can call spots, but you just can't call. Like they're trying to say 10 different things, and I'm trying to get Billy's cues on how much time we got to go to break or how much time off the air. And it gets very confusing when you got two people talking to you at the same time. Plus, you got to remember your spots, And then sometimes when they're calling a spot to change it, you can't get it to the boys right away because they're already into the next spot. And you just can't say, stop, I need to talk to you for a sec. So you got to talk to them on the fly and really incognito and pass the word around.
The highs of the century, gritaba Michael Cole. WrestleMania 31, Roman Reigns, nuestro maldito campeón del pueblo, Brock Lesnar. Y de momento, burn it down. Y bajaba como alma que llevaba el diablo Seth Rollins con el maletín de Money in the Bank en uno de los GIFs más memorables que tenemos por el resto de nuestras vidas. Mike Chioda dice que sí, habían dos planes para ese día. Ese no era el único, pero ese sí era el original. El original era que Seth Rollins canjeara el maletín ese día y ganar el campeonato. Habló de lo bueno que es Seth Rollins y obviamente el buen trabajo que hace, el arsenal de movidas que tiene, etcétera. Pero él tuvo tiempo de ver cómo Seth Rollins bajaba aquella rampa extremadamente larga que él dice, son como 80 o 100 yardas. Nada más. Yo me muero de aquí a llegar al cuadrilátero. Y dice que esa reacción fue enorme y fue ruidosa, pero fue como por segmentos. No se escuchó de momento. Fue como que vino una ola hacia él de ruido de momento. Y habló específicamente del Cash it in! Cash it in! Carmela, you wanna cash it in? Yes! Cash it in! Carmela, desesperada. Las Iconics maltratan y destruyen a Charlotte Flair. Y de repente sale Carmela con el maletín. Le entrega el maletín a Mike Chioda. ¿Y por qué Mike Chioda le dice, ¿estás seguro que quieres callarlo? Porque del auricular. Sí, tiene un auricular. Le estaban diciendo, sigue preguntándole. Desespérala, a la gente le gusta. Y él le seguía preguntando. Por eso fue ese momento. Referente a lo de Rollins y Roman Reigns, él dice que Reigns merecía mucho más en ese momento. El público pues, quería Rollins, pero Reigns merecía mucho más de lo que el público le daba. ¿Quién le hablaba a Mike Chioda por su auricular? 35 años trabajando para la empresa. Hubo varias personas. El primero fue Gorilla Monsoon. Gorilla Monsoon siempre le hablaba a través del auricular y decía qué tenía que hacer y qué no hacer. Después de él, Bruce Pritchard, cuando se convierte en el jefe creativo de WWE. Y posteriormente, quien habla a través de ese auricular fue Gerald Briscoe, que fue el que tomó la rienda de ese cargo en particular por muchos años. Al final, ya el que le hablaba por el auricular era Billy Kidman. Dice que es uno de los mejores haciendo lo que hace y que era complicado porque él estaba pendiente a sus spots. Encima estaba pendiente de los spots de los otros y a veces tenía dos personas a la misma vez hablándole. Él escuchaba a Bruce Pritchard o a Vince hablándole a Gerald Briscoe, no, que haga esto, y Gerald peleando, no, que haga esto, más estar pendiente a los era como que la falta de concentración se iba a cualquiera, mijo. Él estaba pendiente a sus spots y a todo, y habían veces que se confundía, porque tenía dos personas hablándole a la misma vez, diciéndole lo que tenía que hacer. Do you ever had to count 3 when that wasn't supposed to be the original finish? And if yes, which was the match?
Well, recently, and a few years ago, it was R-Truth and
Nakamura, United States Championship.
Nakamura, yep. It was R-Truth and Nakamura. And I remember Ronnie said to me something like, he said to me, I said to him, all right, you're going to roll him up? Or is he, and he goes, yeah, dog. I said, all right, cool. So I didn't think, I said, only one time? He goes, yeah, dog. Yeah, he was thinking about something else. He's like, yeah, dog, one time, whatever. So I remember him like rolling him up, and he kicked out, I think the first time or something. And I remember like, or on the second time, and I counted three. And I said, what the hell? I said, hell are we doing two roll-ups on a false finish, and then he's going to win on the third one? I'm like, I said, Ronnie, I thought you told me it was going to be one roll-up or something. He goes, my bad, dog. I'm sorry, man. I just got caught up in a moment. I said, what? I'm like, so, yeah, it's a little miscommunication. I don't know how, because me and Ronnie always travel together. We're always on the same point. We roomed together, drove in the rental cars together. We did everything together. I don't know how we screwed that one up, but we did.
People only saw you in the referee gear and counting three and doing the work as a referee. But referees have so many jobs inside WWE. They are ring crew. They are talent relations. They do so many things inside the company. Besides being a referee, which were your other roles for WWE?
Yeah, I was, we did a lot of that stuff, and we get the talent for rehearsals. We do this, sometimes I think they ask the referees to be too much of other things instead of just being a referee, which, I mean, it's never, if you have 2 or 3 jobs that you get paid for, or 2 jobs or 3 jobs, or you do other things that you get, yeah, great. But sometimes and the things that they used to call the referees to do were abnormal. I mean, we're just not right. And it was just things like going and get the boys for a drug test, or going to get this one for this. And that's not the referee's job to get the boys for a drug test, or it's not the boys, like, like I always said, they're like, where is this one for rehearsal? Well, we told them 3 hours ago. They gave him a sheet. Rehearsal started 4:45, 4:30. I don't know where he's at. Go get him. What the hell? And I used to get hot, because I'm like, well, I don't have to bring this guy to the bank and cash his fucking checks when I'm there every month. Excuse my language, but do I have to bring this guy to the bank when he gets his big check? No. I mean, we told him to be here. So it was just like, you have to chase around and be a gopher and get everybody, which you don't mind helping out for the company and production, or, rehearsals. But I don't know. I mean, there was a few rehearsals I didn't show up for either. So
what was your final salary compared to your first one? I mean, you were started working in the pro wrestling business for $50 as an in-ring crew member, but you earned 10 cents for each program you sold.
Yeah.
Compared to that, did you find or got the financial stability you wish for working for WWE?
Yeah, I mean, the payroll for a referee, which, some people go, some of the refs are making maybe $1.25, say 125,000. Oh, that's good money. Well, after you pay 30 or 35 grand in taxes, after you pay 20 to 30 grand in expenses in rental car, after you pay your health insurance, with health insurance is expensive, $600-700 a month. After you pay your rent, you don't come away with that much money at the end of the year. You really don't. And if you're paying for your own expenses and your food and this and that, I mean, TVs and all that catering was provided for, but your hotels weren't. Only at WrestleManias for a week, they'd only pay for your hotels and so forth. A lot of expenses came out, and you weren't that wrestler making that big money, but, it was hard to pull. It's hard to pull away. I mean, in the 90s, when I was ring crew and refereeing, I was making $350 a year. That was phenomenal money, phenomenal, great money. And that was the Attitude Era into the early 2000s. And that's kind of just slivered away over the years, in the last so many years. So, yeah, I would like to say to the referees, hey, it's don't believe me. It's a great run I had, 35 years of traveling all over the world. 50 to 60 different countries, all over Canada, United States, all throughout, driving wise. And it's been a great run, but, did the referees make millions? No. Or, a lot of money? No, they didn't. But it's a big difference.
¿Habrá alguna vez que la decisión que salió no era? Pues sí, a Chioda le pasó. Shinsuke Nakamura, R-Truth, campeonato de Estados Unidos. ¿Qué vamos a hacer? Bueno, cuadraron la lucha y me dijeron que pues en un roll-up, en el único roll-up que iba a haber en la lucha, se acababa. Hacen un roll-up, Chioda va a tirar al 3 y se sale. Aquí hay algo mal, tal vez al segundo. Truth lo hace, 1-2, y cuando Nakamura se escapó, 3, te la viste, nuevo campeón de Estados Unidos. Y Nakamura abrió los ojos enormes. Y Chioda dijo como que, fuck, ¿la cagué? Fue tu error. ¿Y cómo la cagan? De esa manera, cuando Ron Killings, o Ronnie como él le llama, es su compañero de carretera. O sea, el compañero de carretera de Mike Chioda es R-Truth. ¿Cómo hay falta de comunicación con el tipo que tú viajas todos los días? Todos los días, todos los días. Y a través como que, my bad, dog. Mala mía, mano. Tocaba. Pero en adición de ser árbitro, él tenía muchos roles. Los árbitros en general tienen muchos roles, que ese es el punto que quería tocarles en este asunto. Ellos ayudan con los ensayos. Dicen que hay cosas que los ponen a hacer que no son justas muchas veces porque no están en sus funciones. ¿Cómo cuáles? Roman Reigns, te toca una prueba de dopaje mañana. Te ven en el laboratorio. Es como que, porque tengo que decirle al talento, pues sí, gente, de las múltiples funciones que los pusieron a hacer, llamar a los talentos, a sus compañeros para decirle que tienen prueba de dopaje. ¡Sorpresa! Esas cosas pasan. Y cuando las veces las personas no llegaban a los ensayos, aquí le reclamaban: Mike, ¿tú no le dijiste a Nakamura que llegara al ensayo? Sí, yo se lo dije. Te toca ir a buscarlo. Entre las múltiples cosas. Y la pregunta de los 60,000 chavitos, como decimos acá en Puerto Rico: ¿cuánto cobra un árbitro en WWE? ¿Cobrarán bien? ¿Cobrarán mal? Bueno, él dice que habían árbitros que ganaban $125,000. Dinerazo. Muy buen dinero. Después de pagar aproximadamente $20,000 a $30,000 en impuestos. Después de pagar aproximadamente $30,000 al año en autos rentados. Ese es el budget real. Tira Dios a la mitad de tu sueldo. Después de pagar los hoteles, comida en la carretera, dieta, todo lo que tengas en el gimnasio, y sigues perdiendo. Y al fin del día no te quedaba mucho dinero. Por eso son contratistas independientes. Adicional a eso, $700 mensuales de seguro médico que la empresa no te lo cubre. Y ese es el tuyo. Si tienes familia, sale más caro. Y así sucesivamente, más el housing y todas las cosas, mucho dinero. Pero él decía que fuera de WrestleMania, él tenía que pagar todos los hoteles. La empresa le pagaba para WrestleMania una semana de hoteles, más nada. ¿Cuánto cobraba Mike Chioda cuando la empresa estaba en todo su apogeo en los 90? $350,000 al año. Ahí cambia la cosa, ahí cambia la historia. Muy buen dinero. Dice que viajó todo el mundo, tuvo la oportunidad de hacer muchas cosas, pero él cobraba esa cantidad porque era ring crew, era árbitro y tenía como 3 funciones más. Y simplemente está agradecido porque tuvo la oportunidad de prácticamente darle la vuelta al mundo, a Estados Unidos, a Canadá, como él dice, y experiencia que nunca se va a olvidar